Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. This is John with Addicted to Fishing, and today we're going to talk about Core Tackle's Ozark rig. Guys, this is nothing that's new, that's out on the market. It's been around for a little while, but I think a lot of people are missing it and the beauty of it. So we're going to talk about my experiences with it. I've had it for a little while now. I've been fishing it. And I'm going to tell you how I rig it, what I like about it, what I may not like about it. And then I got a couple baits out that I like to fish on it. And we won't go real in depth on some of this stuff, but we will cover the basics of it. So if you don't know about the Ozark rig, let's start out with the regular Texas rig. So what you would normally start out with on a Texas rig is a bullet weight, and I got a piece of line here. Put the bullet weight on, and it's able to freely move back and forth on the line. You can, and I got a bunch of them kind of put together here. You can get yourself a bobber stopper, a peg, whatever you want to call it. You can peg that weight, so it sits like this, and it can't go. It really doesn't go up and down because it's on the hook. And just for all and demonstration purposes, we're not going to go take out a bunch of hooks. I got a trailer hook here that I'll show you with. But then you would get yourself, in this case, this is an owner wide gap plus 6/0. Get yourself a regular hook. Here's that spinnerbait hook I was talking about just for demonstration purposes. You would take your spinnerbait hook, tie it on. We're just going to get a quick little overhand knot. I don't even know what kind of line this is. Some pretty heavy duty stuff here. It was just some scrap line I had laying around. So anyway, if I pull on it too hard, it'll probably come undone, but you tie it on, you have your bullet weight on, and that's kind of what we're looking at there. Whether it's pegged or unpegged, this case we'll just go unpegged. So this is what you would be looking at, whether you snell the knot or the hook or whatever you're doing. So when you're fishing a standard Texas rig and you cast it out, that weight unpegged freely moves up and down the line. Okay, so what happens is when you cast it out, the weight will go to bottom and the bait will slowly trickle down behind it if it's a salt impregnated or a non-TPE type bait. And then you end up with this. We hop it, we drag it along the bottom, so forth and so on. Again, guys, this is nothing new. The Texas rig, it's been out forever. Catches fish, no doubt about it. But in recent years, maybe the past year or two, the guys over at Core Tackle, Johnny and Matt Steffen, designed the Ozark rig. And the first thing you'll notice here is the weight goes the whole length of the hook all the way down to about the bend, just right before the bend, and it extends up past the hook eye, I should say. One of the things that you'll notice is that it does have a vertical line tie, if you will. It has kind of the keeper here and a keeper here. So what's different about this versus the Texas rig? Well, one, you don't have that free weight out in front of it when you tie it on. Let me grab that same line. I'll kind of show you. Let's take the bullet weight off. We can pull that trailer hook off. Now we tie this guy on. Then I'm not going to go with an elaborate knot. Use your favorite knot, guys. I would not snell this. That's just me personally. I might try it sometime in the near future, snelling it and seeing if there's any benefit to having it snelled. So anyway, just a real quick overhand knot. So it looks like this. No weight out in front of it. So when it's what happens is, instead of having the traditional bullet weight, and you have this weight here, instead of it falling like this as a traditional Texas rig, it's going to fall more like this, or it's going to have more of a gliding type motion as it falls, depending on the bait. I've watched a lot of underwater footage out there. I don't have the resources to do underwater footage, but there's a lot of good underwater footage out there of it. You could quickly find it on YouTube to see how some of these baits react in the water. One that I really like on this rig is probably the only bait by this company I throw, but any of these flat body style baits really glide. This just happens to be I'm sorry, my mind blanked out on me. The Guggen Squad. That's a Guggen Squad Bandito bug. Sorry, guys. I had a little bit of a brain fart there on that. I'm not going to rig that one up, but kind of along that same lines, I have a Reactions Innovations Sweet Beaver. Reason why I'm not going to rig up that Bandito bug is because it's already been beat up. I'm not going to pull apart the pinchers. But any of your flat style baits, typically too, when you're rigging this, you go through the head with a standard Texas rig. With the Ozark rig, I like to come just slightly behind the bait. So you can see where I've come in on that. Come in. You slide that bait up that shank of the hook. Till you come up over, and I rotate that turkey around there. Find where it's going to come out. I like these Sweet Beavers because they do have a hook slot. And there you go, you rig it up. Weedless, 100% weedless. You see I run my hand all the way down it. But this is what you end up with. Okay, pull that line out. We don't need that line, but you can see where the line came out. So that's what you end up with. And the cool thing about this, and if you watch some of these underwater videos, is you'll see that this bait will kind of glide on its way down. And then we'll get into some of the retrieves. Matt Stefan really goes into the retrieves really well. But anyway, and then because it's not tied onto a hook, I could just easily pop it out. So a lot of your flat baits like that, any of your beaver styles, little crawls, things of that nature work really well. Sticking with the Reaction Innovations, this is one of my favorite baits that's out there. It's called the Man Bear Pig. Kind of your brush hog style bait. They work really well with it. I believe this is the 4/0 1/8 ounce, I believe is what it is. But anyway, I'm not going to fully rig it up, but you can see that matches up perfectly. So a lot of your creature baits, just about anything that I've found in my arsenal works really well. But what a lot of people I think are missing is your stick type baits, worms. We're going to go with a stick style bait here. This is the Z-Man Big TRD. This one just happens to be really badly deformed. Again, guys, what I would do is come in slightly behind the head. Thread that dude all the way up. And then once I get to up in here, and I get over that little chin, if you will, that's when I like to rotate it. This is a little easier to rig while it's on the line. Find out where she's going to come out at. Oh man, this thing being so deformed. Get it rigged up. You can get a lot straighter when it's not a deformed bait and you have some line. But the difference with like a worm, especially your stick style baits, and again, this one just happens to be the Z-Man Big TRD. I picked this one just because the last text, you never know when these dudes even been on. It's just that durable plastic. But anyway, one of the things that happens with your stick style baits, instead of just gliding down, it actually wants to rock. So you're kind of getting this type of motion when it's falling. And these work really, really well. Again, you can get 100% weedless. You know, you can expose that hook. And then we're completely weedless. Again, one of the cool things with the TPE type products, Elastec, whatever you want to call it, some of the JDMs call it elastomer, is you can pull that out and you never know that it was even rigged. Okay guys, I'm gonna put that away, and then one last bait that I absolutely like. I've used this guy for years to caught lots and lots and lots of bass with it. Is the Berkley Sugar Curl. Again, you know, whatever side you're wanting up, you're going to go through that side. Again, once I start getting up to that point, that's when I turn it. I'll finish pulling it up over the head. Find out where she's going to come out. And line her up. And you can see that Crazy Legs Sugar Crawl that just lost a piece. I don't even know where she came from. A little piece of it fell off. This has been hanging around for a while. And we get it up on there and have it rigged right. It's great presentation. Okay, guys. So how do you fish this thing? I really haven't found a negative way to fish it. Matt suggests that when you cast it out, you let it fall to the bottom, and then you give it some nice little subtle pops or strokes, if you will. You're not doing these big Texas rig where you're trying to get that bait to come down to the head and then come up and then let it fall. You could just basically pop it. What that bait's going to do, especially for these crawl style baits, I think that's the best, is it allows it to kind of pop and then scurry, pop and then scurry. And it looks really natural. And if you go out and watch some of the underwater footage, you'll see what I'm saying, and I think you'll agree. It gives it a really, really supernatural presentation. You can also drag it just like a Texas rig or a Carolina rig. I've had great success with that. And I've really fished it just about any way and every way that you can. I've thrown them out, let it hit bottom, brought it up, and just kind of shaking my rod to give it some flutter, and then let it flutter back. One of the things that helps it a lot, in my opinion, is to give it some slack line when it's falling. And it will kind of fall back a little bit. but pay a lot of attention to your line as it's falling. I believe about 90% of the strikes that I've had have been while that bait's falling. The action that it gets when it's falling is very erratic. Even when you're working a bait and you're just kind of popping it, sometimes that bait will just kind of come forward. And the next thing you know, it's starting side to side. So it's got all kinds of crazy action to it. I believe it's probably my go-to now 99% of the time. If I'm throwing a soft plastic and I'm looking at a Texas rig, you throw it in grass, you can throw it around stumps, laydowns, any type of cover, and it comes right in and out of that. Guys, if you haven't tried this rig, you really need to get out there and get this in your arsenal. I can't see myself not having it in my tackle box now. That core tackle Ozark rig is the deal. Like I said, it's got some crazy action. Again, most of the bites are going to come when it's on the fall. One of the things too, and I when I first started watching it, I was kind of on the fence if it was actual information or not. But Matt was talking about all the bass that he was catching on it were hooked in the roof of the mouth. And I kind of thought about that for a minute, like, geez, if we could find something that when we set that hook, it's not going to turn and catch them in the side of the mouth. You're not going to catch them in the bottom, up in the corners. You're going to catch them right in the roof of the mouth. And I'll have to pay a lot more attention to it. But most of the fish that I can remember when I've caught them on this rig, I have hooked them in the top of the mouth. So anyway, guys, that's just a little detailed video on the Ozark rig. I haven't really found too many negatives about it, other than I wish it came with a a little bit wider gap hook. One of the things to note about this is that the hook tip does extend above the eye, so you can kind of get a more natural appearance on that bait when it's rigged. So it kind of, even though it's just a straight hook, it kind of gives that wide gap type usage out of it, if you will. Again, I haven't found too many things that I don't like on it. I hope that they come out with a little bit bigger version, but I'm afraid if they do that, there's going to be so much lead on the hook that it may not be feasible. But more importantly, what I'd be excited to see is a 1/8, or I'm sorry, a 3/16 size, something really small to pair up. And this just happens to be on an Ed head with like some of these little micro baits. That would be great. So if you're listening to Matt and Johnny, that's something to put into that lineup for that Ozark rig. It's something to throw like any type of micro stick bait, the small TRDs, not necessarily the little 1-inch versions of them, but like the little 2 and 3 inch baits. That would be great. A couple other bonus baits that I didn't show you that I have played around with on it. I have played around with a fluke on it, especially something like the Sakamoto shad, where I'm trying to mid-stroll with it. This is another great option to that. I want to try a tube on it. Guys, don't just be stuck with the conventional baits. Get out there, try some different things. If you've got something that you like, the fish on this, let me know what your favorite baits are. Maybe there's something out there that I haven't mentioned that I've fished on it, that I could give you an opinion on how it works, or maybe you can let me know something that works really good for you. So anyway, guys, if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please do so. I'm trying to put out some honest content and some things that I do, and I hope that it helps you, and I hope that it might get you a bite or two or something that you haven't really thought about. But anyway, thanks for watching the video. Hit that like and subscribe button, and we'll see you in the next one.